jointly by Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in New York, Permanent Mission of El Salvador to the United Nations, Academic Council on the United Nations System, and Foundation for Women's Rights Promotion and Development. First of all, let's welcome the host of this seminar, His Excellency Ambassador Paul Wenliang Chan of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in New York to make his welcome remarks and introduction of our keynote speaker. Ambassador?
Thank you, Joanne. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in New York. My remarks will last for 15 minutes, so bear with me. Shouldn't be too long. His Excellency Ambassador Carlos Garcia, Permanent Representative of El Salvador to the UN, and the Vice Chair of the UN Commission on the Status of a Woman. Ambassador Carlos Neves, Permanent Representative of San Tome and Principe. Dr. Basilio Monteiro, Associate Professor of the Division of Mass Communication of St. John's University, and a representative of Academic Council on the United Nations System. Yeah, we should give him applause, right? Definitely. Dr. Joy Lin Chunfeng Wei, member of the Committee for Gender Equality of Executive Yuan of Republic of China, Taiwan. And Professor Zhang Jie, Professor Yan Xiangluan, distinguished members of the Women's Delegation for Taiwan. Excellencies and honorable guests, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And aloha. I live in Hawaii for 2 years, so aloha too. It's my great honor to welcome you all to this seminar entitled Challenges and Achievements in the Implementation of the Millennium Development Goals for Women and Girls. The Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in New York is pleased to present this event in conjunction with the distinguished Permanent Mission of El Salvador to the United Nations. Under the Academic Council on the United Nations Systems, ACUNS, and the Foundation for Women's Rights Promotion and Development. This seminar aims to discuss in depth the priority theme of the 58th session of the UN Commission on the Status of Women, to reflect on the contributions of the MDGs, to learn from lessons of its implementation, and also to look forward and confront the challenges that remain on the road in order to find the best way to galvanize our efforts. CSW 58 is convened at a critical moment of designing post-2015 development agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The new development agenda and SDGs must build on lessons learned from MDGs implementation. We must tackle directly unequal power relations between men and women, persistent social norms, and distorted gender stereotypes that discriminate against women and girls. The new agenda must foster stronger institutions, good governance, and accountability to deliver real change for women and girls around the globe. It is essential to integrate gender mainstreaming concerns across our goals, targets, and indicators, because we can't achieve SDGs unless we first address the underpinning barriers to gender equality, women's empowerment, and women's rights. That's why this office echoes the calling of UN Women for a comprehensive standalone goal that addresses three core areas: preventing violence against women, enabling access to resources and opportunities, and promoting women's political participation and leadership. In Taiwan, after decades of reforms in democracy, human rights, education, law and policies, and through joint efforts from public and private sectors, we have made considerable progress toward achieving gender equality. It was then possible to envision empowerment women in education, business, and government. In 2007, the accession of CEDAW, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, was passed in our legislation, which is Taiwan's parliament. The government of Taiwan completed in 2009 the first CEDAW national report, and in December 2013, the second CEDAW national report. In 2011, our parliament, the legislature, passed the CEDAW enforcement law, urging our domestic regulations, policies, and laws to comply fully with the spirit of CEDAW. Ever since, CEDAW has served as an important guide for the protection, promotion, and development of women's rights in our country. This shows that the protection of women's rights, promotion of gender equality, and women's empowerment have become a common objective among different political parties and a basic value held by the Taiwanese people. According to Taiwan's Directorate General of Budget, Director General of Budget, Accounting and Statistics of our cabinet, the executive, if we apply for the same criteria used in the United Nations Gender Inequality Index, Taiwan would have been the second highest gender equality ranking in the world. The main reason cited for this impressive result is the high rate of female political participation in Taiwan. In fact, nearly 34% of our parliamentarian seats are held by female politicians in Taiwan. In addition, statistics released in November 2013 showed that women outnumbered men for the first time in Taiwan history, and that women's participation in the labor force exceeded 50% for the first time in 2012. The comparison ranks Taiwan second among 149 countries, right behind the Netherlands. However, much remains to be done. Taiwan society must develop an even greater awareness about the importance of promoting women's rights, gender equality, and women's empowerment. We must change society's perceptions, attitudes, and behaviors that condone and discriminate any discrimination against our jurisdiction or justification for violence against women and girls. We must ensure that women have economic and social security, promote decent work, equal salary, foster even greater progress in women's participation in top positions and women's leadership in the decision-making process. We must work on integrating gender equality and women's empowerment perspective into our laws, policies, regulations, and the institution of different domains. In other words, we must realize our own stand-alone goal, studying at home. Today's seminar provides a platform to exchange our views on the important subject of challenges and achievement of women and girls following the MDG and MDGs. It is our sincere hope that through the discourse of our seminar, we can raise awareness of existing commitments, share lessons, define common goals, and strengthen our consensus. Our coming together today will help galvanize efforts, awaken the world to the needed, accelerating MDGs implementation, and call for a new post-2015 development agenda with comprehensive integration of gender perspectives. We're very pleased to have as our first keynote speaker this afternoon the next our speaker. So I would like to introduce him to all of you. So it's His Excellency Ambassador Carlos Garcia. May I have you to wave for all of us? Please be seated. I haven't introduced you all the background. Ambassador Garcia was appointed as permanent representative of El Salvador to the UN on March 13th, 2013. So currently, he is president of the Fourth Committee of the General Assembly. As a special political and decolonization. The Vice President of the Economic and Social Council, Vice Chairman of the Commission for Social Development 2013 and 2014, and Vice Chairman of the Commission on the Status of Women in the period of 2014 and 2015, and the 2012 and 2013. Previously, Ambassador Garcia served as Vice President of the Executive Board of UNDP, UNFTP, and the UNOPs in 2011. Vice Chairman of the Second Committee during the 64th session of the General Assembly. So Vice Chairman of the Third Committee during the 56th and the 59th session of the General Assembly. So Vice Chairman of the former Executive Board of INSTRO 2004 and 2006, and as Rapporteur of the Joint Executive Board field visit to Guatemala and Azerbaijan in 2004 and 2005. Prior to joining the permanent mission of El Salvador to the United Nations, he worked as Director of Multilateral Affairs and the Chief of the Caribbean Affairs from 1991 to 1996 in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of El Salvador. So I believe we all will gain great insight from Ambassador Garcia on his keynote speech, the challenges and achievements of Salvadorian women and girls toward the MDGs and the post-2015 development agenda. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a warm welcome to welcome His Excellency Ambassador Carlos Garcia.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues, friends, and first of all, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Ambassador Paul Chen for accepting co-hosting this event together with our permanent mission of El Salvador to the United Nations and these two other important organizations, CUNY and that have been reflected already. Due to I would say, technical issues, uh, we have to move from plan A to plan B. So this is important because it reflects how being part of the United Nations, we should to have in mind the idea that changes can happen anytime, anywhere, and they are not waiting for us. So if we are ready to switch our given mind settings, that means that we're ready to move towards the post-2015 development agenda. So let me explain what I'm planning to do today. First of all, I would like to address an overall situation with regards to the MDGs and my vision with regard to the post-2015 development agenda. But however, because I can run through the PowerPoint presentation, you will see, since I'm talking to you, a video from the very emblematic and flag program of El Salvador called Ciudad Mujer, or City Women. And so in this regard, I'm combining simultaneously what I'm talking about to you from the international perspective, what is happening locally in El Salvador. We are going to reduce volume because it's in Spanish, but we do have a translation in English, what the First Lady of El Salvador and the Minister of Social Inclusion, Dr. Amanda Piñato, is talking about Ciudad Mujer and explaining what is at the local level or the national level, or our plans, our vision with regard to gender issues. So in a way, we're going to combine both things at the same time, international and national level. So hopefully this interesting exercise be part of the new challenge on the post-2015 development agenda. Thank you for that, and without further interruption, I would like to start by saying that I'm very, very happy to address to you this afternoon, and sorry to move this thing, but I feel that a kind of disconnection with all of you. And because what happened now at the international level is that we came up with a very interesting challenge, goes beyond that only on gender issues. And the challenges, in my view, is the following. As you may know, the international community really started to craft a very particular development agenda in the 90s. Concretely in 1992, when we had the first conference on sustainable development in Rio de Janeiro, very first one. And that decade, of course, came up Beijing, Cairo conference, we have the Copenhagen conference, you can name it. We have basically crafted a very important international development agenda on several issues. Sustainability, human rights, gender issues, social development, habitat, which deals with urban cities and the slums, and many other conferences that really were at the core of the development agenda. This is very important because it creates for the very first time after the post-World War UN vision with regard to development, moving away from the previous conflict on the Cold War. However, this important challenge or this important achievement create what we call at the United Nations a Christmas tree. And what a Christmas tree means that we put, in a kind of place everything that comes to our mind, everything or every needs basically that people from our countries or government believes is important in terms of development. But at the same time, of course, we came in a situation where many commitments were at stake, including in terms of financing for development commitment. If you remember, we have also the Monterrey Consensus that deals for the first time a very important agreement in terms of financing for development, because Monterrey Consensus dealt with very important elements like how to mobilize national resources for development. Another topic was how to mobilize international resources for development. Another important element was how to deal with the external debt. and the trade issues that are fundamental for development. And of course, we have after that the Doha Consensus, where it's reflected a kind of follow-up of the implementation on the Monterrey Consensus. However, in the real time, if we can say it that way, we start facing troubles in terms of that in the year 2008, as very well known, we start suffering from the economic and financial crisis that emerged and start hitting a lot of countries, in not only in just reducing economic growth, but at the same time creating a massive unemployment. And these crises affect countries in different ways. Right now, for example, if you look what is happening mostly in Europe or in other countries, you may see some elements that's still affecting in a negative way